It's my pleasure to be with you today at the Chilaventa Specialist Forum 2022. My name is Ronald Piers of the European Commission DG Energy. I am part of the products team dealing with eco-design and energy labeling, which are two policy instruments to improve the energy efficiency of energy-related products. And today I will introduce you to the latest regulatory developments in EU with respect to funds energy efficiency. First, a few words of the policy context. I think I don't need to tell you, everybody is really aware of it, that the need for action to reduce our energy use in the EU is greater than ever. Of course, there is a threat of climate change, and the Green Deal adopted by the EU with an ambition for the EU to become carbon neutral by 2050. There are also the challenges of the circular economy and the circular economy action plan that was adopted by the Commission about 2 years ago. More recently, the Commission adopted the Fit for 55 package with great ambitions at the horizon 2030, 55% reductions CO2 emissions and 9% additional energy savings. And of course, there is the current crisis with big threats to the EU energy security and high pressure on energy prices, which deserved some significant reaction by the Commission, notably with its Repower EU plan, which is a plan to rapidly reduce dependence on Russian fossil fuels and to accelerate the green transition. There was also recently a proposal for an emergency market interventions to reduce the energy bills, and also now also in July, a safe gas for winter proposal. In this context, it's important to highlight that eco-design and energy labeling and efficiency remain key instruments to reduce energy usage in the middle and long term. In this respect, the Commission has adopted this year two important elements. First, a proposal for a new eco-design for sustainable products regulation and the working plan 2022-24 for eco-design and energy labeling. And I will give you a few words of both. The proposal for a new eco-design for sustainable products regulation will replace the current eco-design directive and will aims at setting requirements for almost all categories of physical goods that are placed on the EU market, a much broader scope and also wider types of requirements. Of course, energy and resource efficiency will remain important, but all aspects related to product durability, reusability, circular economy will also be very important. We will also look at carbon and environmental footprints, information through a digital product passport, etc. At this occasion, we also intend to improve the current framework on various aspects, for example, to reinforce market surveillance, and transitional measures are foreseen for the regulations that are adopted under the current framework. Negotiations are about to start, and it will be a long process for a very important policy instrument. Regarding the eco-design energy working plan, as you can see, we have currently about 50 legal acts covering 31 product groups, which represent about 50% of EU energy consumption. And this framework needs to be regularly updated, and that takes significant amount of time. We estimate that this results in about 10% in the EU energy primary use and greenhouse gas emissions for the products in scope. And these are growing as we progressively replace the stock of inefficient products. This generates about 120 billion per year of savings in consumer expenditure in 2021, which represent about 400 euro per household. And in 22, of course, it's likely to be even more. The previous plan from 2016-2019 has delivered some great achievements, but the work is far from completed, as 40% of the items have rolled over to the current plan, to the new plan. Now, under this plan, we have about 38 reviews of existing regulation due by end of 2024, including, of course, the fans regulation, ventilation units, motors and variable speed drive, etc. And fans is one of the priority regulations to be reviewed. We also look at some new products, and horizontally we are going to focus on contribution to circular economy and also to support market surveillance. Now, coming to the topic of the day about fans that we call industrial fans that are covered by regulation 327/2011. The review of that regulation is ongoing. We got a positive opinion of the Regulatory Scrutiny Board in November 2019. Earlier this year, we organized a new consultation forum through which we collected a lot of very useful insight and input from stakeholders that we are still digesting. We are planning our inter-service consultation later this year, and an adoption possibly in second quarter 2023. So what is new? What are we changing? We are generally updating the requirements, increasing the energy efficiency thresholds, also with new formulas in order to streamline the requirements, which are a bit more complex in the previous version of the regulation. So, for example, for axial fans, you can see on the graph the requirements as they were in 2013 and 2015 in blue and then in red, and the green line on above that with the new requirements, which have been significantly increased. But you can also see that the slope has changed, meaning that for smaller fans, the increase is much more limited. And this is due to intrinsic limitation. For smaller fans, it wouldn't work, or it would be extremely difficult to keep the same slope as before. So we have adapted the slope, and that was one of the purpose of the new formula. Another aspect that we are addressing is the concept of not final assembly in the current regulation. That doesn't work, that is not clear, and that we are replacing by a new concept of complete versus incomplete fans. Incomplete fans could be either motorized impeller, base shaft fan, or impellers. And the proposal is that these incomplete fans should be tested in a compliant configuration of a complete fan. And the person who transformed this incomplete fan into a complete fan would either reproduce that compliant configuration or test that product as a new fan. Another important improvement consists of the introduction of information requirements on fan efficiency at partial load at different flow and pressure along 3 performance curves, one at inherent speed, another one at minimum recommended speed, and one between the two. And the purpose is to provide system designers, ventilation system designers, information on efficiency that would enable them to optimize the system. And we did the same for other products such as electric motors and variable speed drive, by which we require information on the efficiency at variable points of load and speed in order to improve system design and reduces also energy losses at the level of the system. That's very important. We are also introducing resource efficiency requirements about availability of spare parts, availability of repair and maintenance information. We are proposed to explicitly include the jet fans in the scope with dedicated limits and efficiency formula. and other aspects, for example, proposal for new allowances for reversible fans and low noise fans, some updated definitions, for example, on the different centrifugal fan types, some new or revised exemptions. We still have some question marks, for example, about fans for wind turbines or fans in range hoods or jet fans below 5 kilowatts. I mean, should they be excluded? What about protective grids? Should they be in scope? How to take them into consideration? This is still being worked on for fans below 125 watts. Clearly there, we are not proposing to put them in the scope. Just to insist that there is no political validation of these elements. This is just work in progress, and that will have to be confirmed to the inter-service consultation. Voila, I hope this is clear. I hope this was an interesting oversight of what our proposal is. And I thank you very much for your attention, and don't hesitate to contact me at my email address if you have further questions. Thank you.